You have a good idea about the file structure of our theme. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so this is what I want my WordPress theme to look like in the end. This is just an HTML template. And so I just opened this in my browser. This is not live. It is just the index HTML that I'm going to give you an idea of how it's going to look. Okay, so if we go to girlofalltrades.com, this is where we want our header to be, and this is what I want to use for the header. You can see this theme it's very different. It looks like a one-pager. I think I'll tweak it a little bit to make it more than one page and make sure that there's a nice menu up here. But okay, so what I want to do is get this information in my header. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if we can see the header PHP file. Okay, so do not touch this, of course, because you know that's super important. And also, whatever you do, have a backup of your website. And if you're scared that it's going to mess up, sometimes it's a good idea to just copy the whole code and put it in another window. So just in case something goes very wrong, you have a backup. There's lots of ways for developers to do it, but if you're not necessarily a developer, you're just kind of getting in the game, that's a good way to do it. There's so many different ways to do a website just in case you get the white screen of death. And I highly suggest that you do not do this live or just do it locally. Okay, but let's dive in. So we have our header. If you look in here, so it by nature it gives you the H1 right here, and then we have, let's go double screen with this. Let's go double screen so we know what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to bring my code right here, and I'm going to bring my website right here. You know what I'm talking about if you're a Mac user. That's always a nice feature to have. Okay, so here's our H1, and there's what we want it to look like. So I want the H1 to be the name of my website, A Girl of All Trades, and that's what it's calling upon right there. And this is kind of like the description. Here's our description right here, and you could always change these into like a H2 or whatever you want. Just get in there and dive right in. And here's our navigation. So right now we'll leave the navigation alone. What we want to do is make sure that our header looks just like this. Okay, if we go over to our file folders, you can see, let's open this up. You can see, so this is the theme that I downloaded. And under my site, that was the index HTML that I brought up in the browser. And here's all the CSS that comes with it. It's a lot of CSS, but as you can tell, there's a lot of other stuff as well. And it has the fonts. I love the fonts and all the images. So, oh, and as well as the JS. So what we want to do first of all, before we start editing anything, is I want to make sure that these files are in my FileZilla. So there's a number of ways you could do this. I choose to do it with FileZilla. Of course, you don't have to do it like that, but yeah, let's go over here with that one and over here with that one. Okay, so we're going to put it in trades. All right, so I already have a JS folder, and in here there's a JS folder. So you can't have two JS folders because one will overwrite the other one. So let's go ahead and open that up. I wouldn't touch these. This is pretty important, so I wouldn't touch those files, but I would just go ahead and grab all of these files within the JS folder, drag and drop them right on in there, and then when we're ready, I'll show you how to connect all your JS files, all your scripts to WordPress. Because if it's not calling it, it won't see it. And that is so sad and a major pain. Alrighty, let's see. Looks like that's successful. And what else do we have? It looks like, so our JS folder is done for. So it looks like I don't have an images folder in here, so I can just go ahead and take that guy and drop him in there, which I like. And it looks like I don't have a bat folder either. Yeah, I don't necessarily need this folder because I'm not going to use their form. I'm going to use my own form through WordPress, and so I'm not too sure I want to use that one. Along with Mailform CSS, but I'll go ahead and drop them anyway, just because I just want to show you, I want you to have a good idea of what's going on. All right, I went ahead and finished dragging and dropping the rest of these folders into it. Do not drag and drop index.html because that's HTML and we are converting this guy into WordPress PHP. But what we do want to do is look at this file, and it will give us the clues that we need to make sure that this is matching that. Okay, so here's our index.html file. If you look in the header part, here's the header part right here. You can see over here, Stone Products website. Let's see, Stone Products website, right here. Okay, so this is all the header information right here that I want into my header PHP file. That's right here. So let's navigate over to the header. So I do not want to take out my nav, and some of this stuff you definitely want to leave there. For instance, my H1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, we don't need this because this is already in WordPress, but we do need its class, its page header, so it takes on all the design. So what I'm going to do is copy this over to my PHP, but I'm not going to just put it over the other code. I'm going to put it on the bottom of my page as a reference so we know to add up. Okay, so let's make a big area here so we know that there's a reference. When you save your page, do not save this on with it. It's just a good reference to go to. So my header, I want this class on my WordPress header. So let's see here, it says site header right there. I don't really care about that class because it's taking on something else. We can keep the banner, keep the ID, but let's lose all the rest of it. Okay, so within my header right here, this is where I like just to put in the pieces that I want to keep and take out everything that I don't. So looks like site branding. All right, my H1. So I want my H1 to be right here on the website instead of Stone Products website. And if you look right here, here's the H1 and it's in a class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my H1 and I'm going to take this PHP with it because this is a special reference to if it's the front page and it's home, then it will show it, and if not, then it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to take all of this. The description, I'm not going to take. I don't want the description. It's not what I want to do at all. So I would rather just have my H1 right there. So instead of this A tag, I'm just going to go ahead and replace it with my PHP. But here's where your website can mess up. When you mix PHP and HTML, you have to make sure that the HTML isn't getting ran over by the PHP and the PHP isn't running over HTML. So an open PHP bracket right here is going to break the rest of my, it's going to go white screen. So I have to close off my PHP like this. And you can tell in your editor will give you some kind of warning sign that says, hey, don't do that. That's not what we want to do. That'll break, that'll white screen your site. Okay, so now that we took care of this, I don't want this part, the site description. You can keep it if you like. I do not want it. I'm going to keep my navigation. So I'm going to copy that. And it's up to you, like where you want your navigation. So it says right here, contact us, right there. And then I have my social links over here. I kind of want a minimal navigation. So I'm just going to put it, let's see here. I'm just going to put it underneath my social links right there. So as you can tell, the PHP is not getting ran over because it's within here, and that looks good. So when you want to change your social links to the correct links, you're just going to go ahead and replace the link with this this little pound sign or hashtag or whatever. Okay, so you definitely want to keep the content and the header. So now what you can do is, since we changed the class on the header, I'm just going to go ahead and take all of that out. And I'm going to replace, so I have my header right here, my header right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace everything in here within my original header tag. And then I'm going to completely erase all of this because that was from the HTML template. I hope that made sense to you. So basically, I just took some HTML pieces and I put them in the PHP file. Okay, so I'm going to save that out. But what's super important about what we're doing here is that index.html, this was our HTML template. So if you look at the top, it's calling all of these. It's calling all of these. So if our website currently, our theme is not calling any of these, all of these things will be broken. So what we want to do is enqueue them into our website so it can call it.